The story of Diogo Jota here at Wolves, and the tributes from so many of the people whose lives he touched when he was a Wolverhampton Wanderers player. But we are ready for the action, and Wolverhampton Wanderers against Manchester City begins with a Portuguese, the Manchester City captain Bernardo Silva, playing the ball back to the edge of his own penalty area. And here is the first touch now for James Trafford, who Pep Guardiola has chosen to begin in the Premier League team for the start of this season, when Manchester City target winning back the Premier League trophy. Ederson is not involved, but we have been told that that's because Ederson is ill, so that's why he's not involved at all, gastroenteritis. And it's Manchester City on the attack against Wolverhampton Wanderers. First attack of the match, Doku down the left-hand side. I will run you through the teams in full when we get a chance, but it's played across by Reinders, one of the Premier League debutants for Manchester City. Now Oscar Bob, really good to see him back in the Premier League after his injury at the start of last season. And City go all the way back to Ruben Dias in the centre circle. Delighted to say that sitting next to me, first time you and I have done a commentary together, Chris Powell, former England defender, long-time England coach. And honestly, that tugged at the heartstrings, didn't it, what happened before the match?
Well, certainly, John, following on from last night's tribute by Liverpool, the Wolves fans today, what a tribute.
What a tribute indeed. Doku down the left, his cross, it's deep, and it's headed behind at the back post by the Wolves Premier League debutant in their team, the left wing back David Müller-Wolfer, who is a Norwegian international, just like Erling Haaland, of course, and he's headed it behind for the first corner of the match. Now Manchester City are attacking in this first half towards the Sir Jack Hayward stand, where we have just witnessed that incredible tifo to remember Diogo Jota. Look out for that on social media. Match of the day tonight. Here is the corner, played into the 6-yard box, and then headed firmly away. Bernardo Silva swung it right into the danger area there. Let's come back to him now on the right hand side. Bernardo Silva on his right foot, low to the near post, and that is thumped away to comparative safety by another of the Norwegians, Jørgen Strand Larsen, who is now a Wolves player on a permanent basis. So strong start from City.
Absolutely, and I was going to say, well, Wolves were practicing defending corners pre-match, so I expected them to do really well. Strand Larsen, powerful header away, but already Man City is setting the tone.
So the Wolves team, José Sá, the goalkeeper, 3 central defenders, Doherty, Agbadou and captain Totti Gomez, then Kiana Hoover on the right-hand side, David Müller-Wolfer on the left, with Andre and João Gomez in the middle, and then Bellegarde and Munetsi with Jørgen Strand Larsen through the middle. So two of the other summer arrivals for Wolves, Fer Lopez and John Arias, are both among the substitutes, as is Mosquera, incidentally, Yerson Mosquera, who's coming back from a knee injury. And the Manchester City team, so many options it would seem, even though Kevin De Bruyne is there no longer. Here is the ball on the right-hand side with Reinders, who takes it towards the dead ball line. He was closed down by João Gomez. I think that Reinders felt that the final touch was off the Wolves man, but referee Jared Gillett says no, it wasn't. It's a goal kick to Wolves. And the Manchester City team, Chris, so Trafford in goal, there's plenty to discuss there. At the back, Rico Lewis is the right back, so Mateus Nunes is on the bench when he is back also at his former club. John Stones and Ruben Dias are the central defensive partnership. There's an offside flag against Strand Larsen. So John Stones, Ruben Dias, Ryan Ait-Nouri making his Premier League debut for Manchester City against the club that he's just left this summer. Then in midfield, Nico Gonzalez with Bernardo Silva and Tijjani Reinders. And then the front line, Oscar Bob, Erling Haaland and Jeremy Doku, with Marmoush among the substitutes. Also Ryan Cherky is among the Manchester City subs, another of their recent signings. Here's Doku, does well down the left, gets the cross in, but that's cleared away by Andre, who is 10 yards away from his own goal, and it's back to the halfway line. So where do you want to start, Chris? Well, James Trafford's got the ball, so what about that?
Well, it's going to be a different season for him than last year. Outstanding performer for Burnley. Didn't concede so many goals, plenty of clean sheets. If he has anywhere like that performance this season, City will be building back again.
Well, that's given away by Diaz, and now it's being taken on by Andre, and he gives it to his left to Bellegarde, and Bellegarde's ball across the penalty area is cleared away. Strand Larsen was diving in there was a defender with him, and the deflection took it away from goal rather than at the goal. But that was the kind of football, as there's a flag goes up on the far side for an infringement. It's a free kick to Manchester City. That's the sort of exciting football that they love here at Molineux.
Absolutely, and a brilliant counter-attack. I think that Man City will dominate the ball, as they have done over the years under Pep Guardiola, but what a lot of opposition teams do, especially Wolves today, Bellegarde won the ball in the midfield, broke down the left, flashed it across the area, and I think that will be sort of what Wolves' game plan will be today.
And actually, that was superbly defended by Ruben Diaz, who'd given it away in the first place, and that is your classic defender. Make a mistake and then quickly make up for it.
Yeah.
As Wolves, who are playing from right to left towards the colours stand. It is bright and breezy, very breezy actually. The whole line of flags on the top of the Steve Bull stand on the opposite side of the ground are fluttering away in all sorts of directions. About half the pitch, maybe just over a third of the pitch lengthways is in sunshine, and the ball is being played forward by Manchester City, and João Gomez is all over the back of Rico Lewis, so it's a free kick to Manchester City. Rico Lewis, who's stepped into the midfield. There is talk of him perhaps moving on in this transfer window, Rico Lewis, but he's starting the season and he's doing what, as we know he can do, step forward into the midfield. That is where he is now, with Manchester City in possession, and Reinders now out towards the right hand side. Here's Oscar Bob fractured his leg at the start of last season, did come back in time for the FIFA Club World Cup. Back to Stones curls it in. Doku tried to volley it back across, but actually missed it altogether. Cheered that by the Wolves supporters in the stand to our right, and it's a goal kick. It's Wolves 0, Manchester City 0 in what is our first Saturday 5:30 Premier League commentary of this new season. Chris Powell.
Well, already, John, Man City are playing the way they always play, an inverted fullback, a fullback that goes into the midfield to try and outnumber the opposition. Rico Lewis has done that already. He's nominally the right back, but he plays a lot of his game in the central areas.
Yes, his hair is much shorter as well for the start of this season, which I have to confess is a help when you've got Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob in the same team. I've mixed them up a few times over the time that they've been playing together. Really pleased to see Bob back as well, because they had really high hopes for him at the start of last season. Totti Gomez almost in trouble. Haaland was quickly onto it. Free kick's been given for I think it was the way that it was won back by Bernardo Silva in the aftermath, and that means that Totti Gomez, the Wolves captain, is a very relieved man.
He is, because he stepped on the ball, John. He's trying to step out, be clever on the edge of his own box, and I think Haaland thought it was a bit over the top, but his foot ran over the top of the ball, and then Silva just made an infringement free kick.
Yeah, I think it was Reinders, actually. Silva and Reinders came together, and I think it was Reinders who did get the touch and conceded the free kick. So Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. They've won it back again. This time they've won it from João Gomez. Manchester City dangerous. Wolves losing possession in their defensive third. Out to the left-hand side to Doku. Now City with Reinders again, the new number 4, curls it all the way across the field. Bob is going to struggle, he can't get there. It just bounced away, skipped away from off the turf, and it is a goal kick to Wolves. So 0-0 here. We will be keeping you up to date as well with Rangers League Cup tie, which starts in, less than half an hour at Ibrox against Alloa Athletic. And I think, Ailey Barber, the St Johnstone Motherwell tie is over with you now.
It is indeed, John, and despite St Johnstone's best efforts, there's been no cup upset, although it did take until extra time for Motherwell to eventually break down their stubborn defence. They did dominate the ball, Motherwell, and it was Lucas Fadinger who eventually squeezed the ball in from a tight angle through some very tired bodies. So it is Motherwell who progressed to the quarter-finals. It finished after extra time. St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1.
Also, St Mirren 1, Hearts 1 after extra time. So we'll keep you posted on that. And yes, Rangers kicks off at 5:45, so that is in the coming minutes. And also Hull FC against Lee in the Super League, 5:30 start for that one. And you can actually listen to that. That's a choice of listening now on Sports Extra 3, while the 100 continues on Sports Extra and Sports Extra 2. If you've been out of the loop, Sports Extra 2 and Sports Extra 3 are new and exclusive to the BBC Sounds app, as we bring you an ever-increasing choice of live sport. But here on 5 Live, Wolves 0, Manchester City 0, and it is Wolves who are on the back foot. Rico Lewis plays it for Oscar Bob, but that's well defended by Müller-Wolfer, and Bob can't get any change out of him, and it bounces through for a goal kick to Wolves.
Oh, well defended by the debutant at left back. He just read the ball from Rico Lewis and just sort of body checked Oscar Bob out onto the touchline. The ball ran out. Very good defending. What I've noticed, John, sorry, it was just they've gone to a 5-4-1 without the ball. They're going to put plenty of men behind centrally so they can't go through, and so people like Doku and Oscar Bob will be very, very important today.
That's excellent play there from Nico Gonzalez running with the ball. Then it's played back behind him by Doku, so Wolves have got possession back again. Bellegarde managed to find the pass to Strand Larsen. It's played forward, but actually the run forward had been made by Marshall Munetzi, and he was way offside, so Strand Larsen actually tried to play it for Hoover to make ground, but there was no way he was getting to that, and Manchester City have got the ball back. Yeah, interesting, I think, Chris, that Müller-Wolfer has started well and encouragingly in the left wing back position, when Ryan Ait-Nouri, the former Wolves player, is over there on the pitch, just probably keeping half an eye on the man who's been brought in to replace him.
Well, it happens all the time, doesn't it? You leave a club and then you play against them very, very soon. He's a superb player, Ait-Nouri, one of the best left backs in the division, but it was a problem area for Man City. They think now they've resolved it by signing him, but I'm interested to see how Müller-Wolfer does for Wolves.
Yeah, well, he's in action now. Oscar Bob is running at him. It's played back though to Lewis. Square from Lewis. A touch from Gonzalez, Nico Gonzalez, then into the penalty area over the top of Haaland. Headed back into the box, but all the way through to José Sarr, who just drops down to his right. The Wolves goalkeeper, who I have to say from this range looks as though he's dressed for mid-November. He's all in black. He's got his socks pulled up right over his knees, and the referee's actually stopped play because Andre has just taken a bang on the side of the face, possibly in a collision with Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I think he just defended the cross.
Yeah,
just got his body.
They cannot afford. There are Wolves, as we heard before the match from Vitor Pereira, you know, they hope to do more business. They've been one of the lower spenders so far in this transfer window, with something in the region of £53 million that they've spent, which, yes, believe it or not, does put them in the rank of the lowest spenders so far in the Premier League in this transfer window. But they cannot afford an injury in central midfield. João Gomez and Andre, it was Nico Gonzalez, wasn't it, on the edge of the area, who just leaned into him, at the taller man, and has, I think, maybe caught him with his shoulder.
He did, yeah. So the ball went in and Wolves defended it brilliantly against Haaland, but it was on the sort of second phase. He went to head it away and Gonzalez just caught him on the side of the head. It's a bit of a blow, but hopefully he'll be okay. Yeah,
and obviously concussion protocol will be taking place, so we've got a bit of a stoppage here now. Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. This is 5 Live from the BBC. Almost a quarter of an hour played. If you've just got back into your cars, we will round everything up for you over the course of half-time. All of the main events. We'll bring you more interviews. We've already heard quite a few in Sports Report. What a start for Sunderland today in our earlier commentary match on 5 Live. 3-0 against West Ham. Tottenham likewise. Chris, one of your former clubs, you know, what a bounce back that was from them after the events when I was over in Italy on Wednesday night.
Well, I'm a boyhood Spurs fan, John, so I'm very happy that they've started off today. It was a perfect game for Thomas Frank, really, at home to a newly promoted team, where they can just get some confidence into the team. They played particularly well actually on Wednesday, but the last 15-20 minutes PSG's quality told. But this outstanding result is Sunderland.
Yeah, wow. Outstanding. And a couple of draws in the other two Premier League matches this afternoon. Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0, and Brighton 1, Fulham 1. Here it's 0-0, still relatively early stages, and Andre, much to the relief of Vitor Pereira and everyone connected with Wolves, it looks as though he's been given the all clear to continue. So that was a lengthy stoppage. There was real concern over him, but he's just been held on the halfway line now, and he will be back into the action very shortly. So Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. Wolves, who played 6 matches pre-season, didn't win any of them, but as we know, that's no guide, is it, Chris? It can go completely the other way, can't it? Pre-season results.
Yeah, sometimes you hear teams and hear supporters saying we've won every game, so we're going to have a good season. Then you don't win for the next sort of 5-6 games. Pre-season is about building relationships and confidence into the team, and hopefully Wolves, they've still got some buying to do, but they're looking pretty good, to be fair, so far.
They are. Jürgen Strand Larsen, little ball, but here's Haaland on the halfway line. 34 goals last season in all competitions. That terribly disappointing season for him, just the 34, as Lewis takes a throw in back towards John Stones. Good to see him back as well, having missed so much of last season. The Manchester City number 5, important for England as well, as you well know, Chris. Just 13 starts and 7 substitute appearances for Stones last season because of the various problems. Thomas Tuchel did take him to Spain at the end of last season for their training ahead of the Andorra game, and he went to the FIFA Club World Cup as well, but was just an unused substitute, but is in the team for the start of the season with Akanji among the substitutes, and Nathan Aki as well. And it is Stones who just knocks it across to Ruben Dias. Rico Lewis receives the ball, turns, looks up. Manchester City, their shirts, their sky blue shirts for this season, with a thin white diagonal stripe across the front of the shirts. White shorts, blue socks, and Wolves, of course, in the old gold, although it's an interesting interpretation of old gold this season. Here's Bob, now down the right, angles it back into the box. Rico Lewis, lovely change of feet, ball across the area, and that is blocked behind at the near post by Agbadou for a corner to Manchester City. Well played, City.
Yeah, great interchange play between Lewis and Bob on the edge of the area. Just flashed it across. It was really well defended. Out for a corner.
Yep, corner. So again, to be taken by Bernardo Silva. As Chris Powell says, Wolves were rehearsing these in the warm-up, defending set pieces. Bernardo Silva into the near post. That's headed away by Müller-Wolfer. Comes out to Manchester City. Played across by Rico Lewis. Bernardo Silva still here. Left-footed ball in, which is headed across goal, and I think it must have come off a Manchester City head. Yes, it did, because Gonzalo was trying to keep it in. He couldn't, so it is a goal kick, and it's still 0-0.
Outstanding ball in by Bernardo Silva there. Really well defended. I think Wolves, they're a big team. They look a powerful team. About 18 minutes.
Yeah, 18 minutes. Well, same as at Wembley last Sunday when the Liverpool supporters applauded, and indeed Liverpool scored in the 20th minute in the Community Shield, and similar to last night, it was number 18 was Diogo Jota's number when he was here, and so in the 18th minute the applause as Wolves played forward for Menezes to chase after, but out comes Trafford and takes that confidently and well, all in pink. And listen to this. Diogo and the applause ringing around Molineux, and of course this is happening all around the country, but it is particularly felt at Molineux and at Anfield. Manchester City with Bernardo Silva, left it across. Oh, it's just headed over the top by Haaland. You never know with Haaland. He jumped for it, and of course his leap is prodigious, and he just got the top of his head to it, but could only send it over the top.
What a cross by Bernardo Silva. He made that inside run that Kevin De Bruyne used to do all the time on the right-hand side, but he did it on the left side, got the ball from Doku, stood it up on the back post. It was inches, John.
unusually, he mistimed it, didn't he? Mistimed his leap. He's usually so good at that.
He looked as if he was coming down, as if,
Yeah.
you know, he should have been going up.
Wolves attacking. Ball played through for Menetzi. The offside flag is up. That was decisive assistant refereeing, if I can call it that, by Mark Perry, who's over on the far side. Yeah, very often they wait until the attack has developed, but he was confident enough that he was offside, and he was absolutely right, the assistant.
Well, John, Man City's high line is alive and kicking. They're still doing it this season. I thought at times last year they struggled, but they're still doing it this year.
That was a firm challenge, wasn't it, by Doherty on Bernardo Silva?
It certainly was.
He took the ball superbly, like a defender should, but Bernardo Silva knew about that one. But with no Kevin De Bruyne, as Wolves win it back, Menetzi puts in the challenge, but then it bounces away to the halfway line. However, Andre is onto that. He angles it back into the centre circle. João Gomes, if that pass had beaten Lewis, then Müller-Wolfer was away down the left-hand side, but Lewis was able to cut it out, and now Bernardo Silva allows it to run out of play on the halfway line. Yes, I think with Kevin De Bruyne at Manchester City no longer, now starting this latest chapter in Italy with Napoli, and obviously no Jack Grealish, but particularly with no Kevin De Bruyne, someone's got to step up, haven't they, in terms of that supply line to Erling Haaland, and Bernardo Silva is probably the man.
Will it be him? And I would expect Reinders from the time I've seen him.
Yes, absolutely. Here is Strand Larsen now through the middle, who is muscled to the ground by Nico Gonzalez, just forward of the centre circle, and that is a free kick. And Jürgen Strand Larsen, as Jared Gillett comes across, puts his arm around the referee's shoulders, and as the two of them discuss that free kick that was given his way. I don't know how much you saw of him last season, the Wolves number 9, who, as I say, has now been signed permanently for best part of £25 million. Scored 14 goals last season in his 38 appearances. I have to say I like what I saw.
Yeah. I've got to say, for the price, and at this level, very, very astute buy who actually could build on last year.
Yep, 25 years old he is. Bellegarde takes this free kick then long and forward, that is hooked back across by Totti Gomez, and then cleared away by Bernardo Silva on the edge of the area. The news on the penalty shootout is St Mirren have won it. They've knocked out Hearts. St Mirren have beaten Hearts 5-4 in the shootout in the Scottish League Cup after a 1-1 draw after extra time. If you've just switched on, finished St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1, as we heard earlier from Ailey Barber. And Rangers Alloa Athletic will be underway now, won't it? Yes, it will. It is 0-0 there. Ball played over the top for Wolves. James Trafford has come out of his penalty area and heads it out of play for a throw-in 10 yards back from the corner flag. Yeah, James Trafford starting. Ortega is the substitute goalkeeper after his all of his record breaking with Burnley in the Championship, with strings of clean sheets, numbers of clean sheets, which is something that he's been noted for during his career. But remember, last time Burnley were in the Premier League, he ended up losing his place in the team, but he is a couple of years older now. Here's Menetzi though for Wolves. Trafford has to be sharp in the middle. Menetzi's ball across. It's miscontrolled by João Gomes, and the ball just bounces off his left leg as it bounced up at him, actually, which took it straight through to Trafford for an easy catch.
Well, what Wolves are doing, they're making deep runs, late runs, because of the high line. They've tried to get Hoover in, they've tried to get Müller-Wolf in, and that time it was Menetzi, and it was a really good cross, well defended in the end. But Wolves, very astute play by just making late runs, delaying it so they're not caught offside.
Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. 5 Live from the BBC. Listen to 5 Live on the BBC Sounds app. And here is Doku on the left-hand side. This is the latest of our 6 commentaries on 5 Live or Sports Extra over the course of this opening weekend, as we, this season, as you may have heard, bring you even more Premier League commentaries than ever before. I know. I don't know how, but we are. Here, well, I do know how, because we now have Sports Extra 2 and Sports Extra 3. Here is Lewis out to Stones on the right-hand side. Stones moving infield on his right foot, just a little touch back to Rico Lewis, and then it's played forward by Reinders, Bob and Reinders together. Reinders continues to move, nicely done, right for the ball. Haaland's interested, but too close to Sarr, who is able to jump forward out of his 6-yard box, catch it, then deliver it downfield to Manetzi. He's taken that in his stride brilliantly, but defender Ait Nouri makes his first important contribution of the match, and a good one it was as well, to put in the tackle and put it out of play for a throw.
Brilliant recovery play by Ait Nouri. At first, he let Manetzi get the ball, and I was thinking you shouldn't do that, but he was calm. He waited for his time to make the challenge, and it's gone out for a throw to Wolves.
Yes, Marshall Munetsi is the Zimbabwean international who Wolves signed from France, from Reims, during the course of the winter international window last season. Really, primarily, he's a defensive midfielder, but Vitor Pereira has seen something, and he's deployed him in this advanced role, not for the first time here today. And that's where he is, the number 5, as Doherty has just tripped, a little trip by Bernardo Silva. They take a quick free kick. Bellegarde now delivers it down the right. Here's the ball into the area. Shot from Strand Larsen, that is blocked. Now, once again, Bellegarde, right corner of the box, gives it out to the right-hand side. Hoover, then it's swept in by Doherty, and it's headed in! But the offside flag is up against Munetsi. He was off celebrating, but the flag, it's Mark Perry again, was up very quickly.
It was.
So a free kick to Manchester City. Well, they thought that was lift-off for the new Premier League season. They will obviously have a look at this. Michael Salisbury is the video assistant referee. And Chris?
Yeah, it's offside. Brilliant defensive line by Man City. As the ball got laid back, they came up in unison. He was about 2-3 yards offside, but really good play by Wolves. Initial cross came in, Strand Larsen on target, brilliantly blocked by John Stones. Got recycled by Wolves. Great cross, great finish, offside.
Yeah, good decision by the assistant, but promising for Wolves. Just talking about Munetsi getting himself forward, getting into goal-scoring positions. The Wolves regulars tell me he gets into those positions, but he misses a lot of them. He didn't miss that one, but unfortunately he was offside. And now Doherty has manhandled Doku to the ground. That's a free kick to Manchester City. Good position, middle of the half, over towards the left-hand side.
Well, that was a clear free kick. I mean, he just...
I'm surprised that wasn't a yellow card.
Yeah.
I thought
Maybe
Doku
start
might
the
have...
season.
Well, did they do that? Not sure they
No
do.
comment. No comment.
That's Chris Powell with us on 5 Live. More coming at half-time, more reaction from the earlier matches still to come. Probably more from Tottenham. I suspect we'll hear from Thomas Frank, and I suspect we might hear from Regis Lebris for the first time post-match as a Premier League manager after Sunderland's superb start. Free kick though here for Manchester City. 0-0, almost half an hour played of the new Premier League season here at Molineux, one of the great, and well, it can be one of the most vibrant places. Bernardo Silva swinging it in for Manchester City. That's headed down and away by Agbadou. Comes back to Bob on the right-hand side. Beats Munetsi, lifts it across, too close to Sarr, who's able to hop into the air in the 6-yard box and make the catch.
Well, Oscar Bob skipped past the fullback there, but his cross had no pace, stood it up, gave Jose Sarr enough time just to collect it and start Wolves off again.
Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. So this front line that Pep Guardiola has gone with today to begin the new season. Doku on the left, Bob on the right, Haaland through the middle. The ball has been won back from Reinders, and now João Gomez. Bellegarde will have a go, took a deflection across, chance for Munetsi, it's saved by Trafford. That was a big opportunity. There was an offside flag in the end. Munetsi actually looked across when it was saved to see if there was a flag, and indeed the assistant has ruled that he was in an offside position, but that was a clear chance.
João Gomez snapped into the tackle against Reinders. It's from Bellegarde. He just tried to, I think he tried to shoot a goal, just squirmed wide to Munetsi, who was standing again 2-3 yards offside.
Yeah, and did it take a little deflection from Bellegarde, which carried it perfectly into the path of Munetsi, but he was offside. It was the right decision again. Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. Tell you who's made a great start to the new season, Mark Perry, the assistant there, has 3 decisions, all absolutely spot on so far.
fair play. He's been his pre-season training's gone well.
It obviously has done, yes. So Wolves, who finished 16th in the Premier League last season against Manchester City, who of course last season ended up with only the Community Shield to show for it, but as we well know, they've won the Premier League 6 times in the last 8 seasons, 4 in a row before last season's disappointment. And if they don't finish in the top 2/3, I'll be very surprised. Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. Going to get an update from Ibrox in a moment. 5:45 kickoff there, and in fact Doku loses possession. Manchester City have got it back on the halfway line, so let's bring in Kenny Crawford.
14 minutes gone, it's Rangers 1, Alloa 0. A wonderful goal curled in by Nedim Bayrami, the Albanian international. It kissed the underside of the crossbar on its way in. A beauty. Rangers 1, Alloa 0.
So 1-0 to Rangers. Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. The 100 continues on Sports Extra 2. Boxing on 5 Live tonight, live from Saudi Arabia. The Itauma White fight. Manchester City crossing from the left, but Sarr stretches high, makes the catch. Also, incidentally, in the National League, Truro City 0, York City 0. I think if you're a York City supporter, that's the one you want at the start of the season, isn't it? During the holidays. Ball is played across towards the edge of the box, the Wolves box that is, 6-yard box, played out by Sarr. Here's Müller-Wolfer, who is very tall, fair-haired, the Norwegian, left wing back. And here's Bellegarde now, who gets it down, but a high foot by Jørgen Strand Larsen, who has collapsed onto his knees in frustration that was given against him. High foot on Nico Gonzalez, and mindful of the fact that only the captains are supposed to approach the referee these days, Strand Larsen has probably got to mind his P's and Q's.
He has. I mean, it was a foul. Wolves actually got out of their build-up play under pressure from Man City was really, really good. Ended up at Strand Larsen. It was a high boot. He caught stones, but not really that bad.
Yeah. Wolves 0, Manchester City 0. Wolves, who had that remarkable rise under Vitor Pereira on the back foot here. Bernardo Silva into the area, there's a touch, takes it back to the edge of the area where Nico Gonzalez hits the shot, but Wolves quickly closed him down. Then a shot from Ait Nouri, that was blocked inside the penalty area. The Wolves fans enjoyed that it was blocked at. So it's now Oscar Bob again. Oscar Bob beats Müller-Wolfer, still going. Excellent footwork from the Norwegian, still going. What a weaving run this is. Packed penalty area, works it across, not to Haaland. It was just stretched away by Doherty, who's standing in front of Erling Haaland, and Wolves get it away to the halfway line.
Well, that was Messi-like.
It was.
He took on 3-4 players, kept the ball very close to his foot, got the cross in, got cleared, but they're dominating play now, Man City.
Yeah,
really
that run, that all happened in the penalty area, the Wolves penalty area. Here's Bob again, left-footed ball this time. That is old style, all the way across towards the far side. Doku was struggling there with the sun in his eyes, had to put his hand up to shield his eyes, got the ball down though. Then it's played back by Gonzalez. Doku is running at Hoover, then it comes back for Ait Nouri near the edge of the penalty area. Doherty in with a challenge on the edge of the box. Bernardo Silva, lovely little dink from him out to the left hand side to Doku, dummied as if to shoot. He's taking on Hoover again on his right foot. Then he's got the option there as well of Ait Nouri, and then a shot from Nico Gonzalez, but that was charged down by Strand Larsen, and the ball ricochets all the way to the halfway line, and Manchester City have to play it back to Trafford. Yes, when Oscar Bob had that little weaving run inside the penalty area, I suspect you'll see that on Match of the Day tonight. I mean, if they put a track on that, it'll look like the plate of spaghetti, won't it?
Like a figure of 8.
Yeah, it would. Ice skating.
They love to touch him in the area.
Yeah, here they go again. Ball played into the air. Rico Lewis is under this, works it across. Haaland is there, back post. It's Erling Haaland who scores Manchester City's first goal of this new Premier League season. 1-0 they lead Wolves. Simple for him. Super work though by Lewis, and it's Wolves 0, Manchester City 1.
John, how many times do people say Erling Haaland hasn't done much? He's touched the ball maybe once in the first 20 minutes. It's the 35th minute now. I think that's his third touch, but that's what he does. That's what he's paid for. A brilliant ball to Rico Lewis. And Man City have been really, really good. Dominant on the ball, I think it was from Reinders. Yes, it was Reinders who played it over the back four.
Yeah, just celebrating that, Reinders, actually, his part of that. It was like a scoop, wasn't it, to Lewis. Got himself into a position, as we were talking about early in the game. You know, that's what he does. Excellent play from Reinders, wasn't it?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And a player like him will have to take on the mantle of the creativity that they've lost with one of the best ever Premier League midfielders in Kevin De Bruyne. But people like Reinders, Silva, Phil Foden, when he's fit, they will have to fill in and do what Kevin De Bruyne did for so many years.
Oh, that's a good pass as well by Nico Gonzalez, but Haaland wasn't able to take it on. So Haaland is off the mark for the new season. Goal number 1 for 2025-2026 in the first Premier League game of the season. His 86th Premier League goal, his 125th in all competitions for Manchester City after the 34 of last season. I don't know about you, Chris. My money is very much on him to beat that this season, as the ball is played in for Wolves towards Strand Larsen, but decisive from Trafford, who slid out to the near post of the corner of his 6-yard box to claim it.
Well, if Erling Haaland had a poor season last year with 34, I wonder what he'll get in an average season. It'll be a new look City this year, because last year wasn't to the standards. But you've got to remember, I think we tend to think about Man City over the last sort of 6, 7, 8 years.
Here is Müller-Wolfer playing it infield to Strand Larsen. Now João Gomez. Wolves have just fallen behind here, trying to work their way back into the game. Thought they'd scored, but Menezes was offside. Hoover with the cross from the right-hand side, but that's blocked by Diaz, and it bounces away back out of play in the sunshine over there on the far side. Hoover takes a quick throw to João Gomez. So Erling Haaland scoring in the 35th minute. Manchester City, who have won 13 of their last 14 opening Premier League matches of the season, and they've won the ball back from Andre, and now Bob plays it, and then the shot from Reinders. 2-0, super finish with his left foot, and on his Manchester City Premier League debut, Tijjani Reinders from the angle, super finish across Saar, and it's Wolves 0, Manchester City 2.
Well, it was a ball loss in the middle of the park, turned over in City's favour, and they really attacked the goal with aplomb. It could have gone to Doku. Reinders broke alongside Oscar Bob. Brilliant play by Oscar Bob, actually, because he carried it from the halfway line, and he had a decision to make. Do I play to my right, to Erling Haaland, or do I go to my left? He went to his left, and Reinders, in his stride, hit across Jose Sarr, 2-0.
Yeah, and after they lost possession, after Andre was dispossessed, it was 3-on-2. Just two of the central defenders were there, and what an option that is. Reinders on one side and Haaland on the other. He went Reinders, first time finish. That was super, wasn't it? So he's been heavily involved. Set up the first goal, Reinders, even though it'll be Lewis who gets the assist. Really, strictly speaking, if you're handing out assists, Reinders should get an assist for that first goal, but he's actually got a goal as the ball is played downfield, and Wolves now 2-0 down, 7 minutes to go to half time, and it looks very likely it's going to become 14 out of 15 wins in their opening match of the Premier League season for Manchester City.
John, you know, that second goal, it was almost like a training exercise. You mentioned 3v2. Every team does that, just to see how they can find the spare man when the two defenders are occupied with the player on the ball, which Wolves were, and he chose the right option. It's always about choosing the right option. Who's to my left, who's to my right, who do I use, or who makes a dummy run? And I suppose on this occasion Haaland made the dummy run and Reinders was the beneficiary.
Yes, he was. So Haaland and Reinders, I think that's 2 goals in a little over 2 minutes that was scored by Manchester City there in the latter part of this first half. And Rico Lewis just coming in for a challenge and sending the ball bouncing high into the stand to our right, into the top tier actually, to our right. But what about Tijjani Reinders, Chris? Dutch international, one of the summer arrivals, actually signed in time to play at the FIFA Club World Cup, wasn't he? at the end of last season. There we are, his first goal for Manchester City, their biggest signing of the summer, having at Milan last season being voted into the team of the season. Scored goals there as well, 15 goals last season, career personal best, and what a start he's made for City.
He's a top quality player. I'm surprised AC Milan let him go because he was so influential for them. But he's come into a City, and like I said earlier, it's going to be a new look City now with people like him, Mamouche, Aït-Nouri. Obviously Oscar Bob is almost like a new signing after missing the majority of last year. Gonzalez, whether he will be influential with Rodri out. He started off superbly well, and he will be a very, very good addition to Man City.
Just got a stoppage here at the moment because Munetsi has taken a bang. So while he is seen to, back to Kenny Crawford at Ibrox, because Kenny,
this wasn't on the script, John. 24 minutes gone, Rangers 1, Alloa 1, and we think the goal scorer is former Sheffield United midfielder Stefan Skugel. Brilliant work down the right hand side by Stephen Buchanan, pinball in the box, and we think Skugel got the last touch. Rangers 1, Alloa 1.
Yes, there's a bit of a blast from the past. Stefan Skugel here. Tijani Reinders, who Chris used to work in Aldi when he was a youngster. He's come from working in Aldi to becoming a Premier League star in the making.
John, I've got to say, is that the supermarket or the car?
It is the supermarket.
Yeah, right, Aldi, yeah.
I suspect he spends more time in Marks and Spencer's these days. Here is Muller Wolfa, who plays it forward to the halfway line. Bernardo Silva then goes back into his own half, and Ruben Diaz is there. Munetsi is still waiting to come back onto the field. I'm not sure where he picked up that knock, but actually, a point we should make: Wolves have been careless, haven't they? It's been a feature of the first half that they've either been caught in possession or have lost the ball in dangerous areas or inside their own half. And if you do that to Manchester City, and actually Nico Gonzalez now into the penalty area, or packed penalty area, then back to Reinders, who'd looked to curl it across. It hit a Wolves body and bounces behind for a corner. If you continue to do that, you know what's going to happen, don't you?
Absolutely. And Reinders is showing that he scored his goal with his left foot, that cross there with his right foot. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with Reinders this season. Good player. Yeah,
27 years old, so he's not in the first flush of youth, but the Manchester City clearly knew what they were doing with Kevin De Bruyne off to Italy, and he's arrived from Italy. So it's a corner. Bernardo Silva from the right, 2-0 City lead. In towards Haaland, took a glance off his head. Doku's able to take it down at the back post. Doku dragged his foot over the ball. Two Wolves players with him, still going, tried to work it across. It's actually well hooked away by Hoover, deflected off him, bounced up, and he volleyed it out of play. And we've got another man down. It is Strand Larsen, who is sitting just outside the penalty area, and referee Gillett is just coming across to see how he is. So half-time approaching. We will have more on all of the earlier football and indeed the top sport at half-time with Mark Chapman, who, as you may have heard, will be presenting Match of the Day tonight with Alan Shearer and Wayne Rooney. So that is on BBC One this evening. You'll be able to watch it any time on the iPlayer. And what is slightly different as well, Premier League highlights on the website during the course of the evening this season on a Saturday night. Corner for Manchester City from the left. In it comes. Headed goalwards by Diaz. They haven't got it away. It bounces up and then is volleyed away by Totti Gomez. Manchester City looking for a third goal before half-time, which, whether to get that, you'd be saying that is the match over. But it's bounced out of play. Well, it's a Manchester City throw, which I thought it was a Wolves throw off Reinders. But as Jimmy Armfield always used to say, the assistant's closer than we are. So he obviously saw something that we didn't. Throw in for Lewis to take, level with the edge of the area. Rico Lewis, Manchester City's number 82, 20 years old he is now, the young England international. You'll have worked with him, Chris, I would have thought. Am I getting that right in your England time? With Rico Lewis?
No,
that was later.
It was after me. Yes,
there
it was.
Here's Doku on the left-hand side. Doku coming in field. Little flick from him for Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri puts his foot on the ball, rolls it over the top. Then it goes back towards the halfway line, and Stones goes back towards Diaz, who will turn away from Strand Larsen, who didn't need to get attention on the field. Doku, then back to Nuri, who very nearly lost possession to Strand Larsen, but Manchester City were able just to get a foot in to win it back. And here they come again, dangerous down the right hand side. Again, it's Lewis and Bob causing problems, but it bounces off Lewis when he received it from Bob, and therefore Totti Gomez was able to clear it downfield.
Man City really put the ball at risk on the halfway line. If Diaz lost it or ate Nuri in the same phase of play, Wolves were in. But they take these risks because they want to really get Wolves to come out of their shape, and then they break into the spaces. But Wolves have been...
There will be a minimum of
5
5
minutes
minutes
of added time
5 minutes.
at the end of this first half.
Wolves have really been their own worst enemy at times, John. They played into City's hands, and City on the right with Lewis and Oscar Bob, they've been very, very good.
That's Chris Powell with us here on 5 Live, here at Molineux. Manchester City are in control. Back to Ibrox, Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, Rangers seem to have this back under control. 29 minutes gone, Rangers 2, Alloa 1. Good free kick by Joe Rothwell and an excellent downward header by Emmanuel Fernandez into the bottom left-hand corner. Former Peterborough man. Rangers 2, Alloa 1.
Hoover with the cross for Wolves. Strand Larsen couldn't get a touch on it. I think he slipped, or it was slightly behind him, and then the arriving Munetsi could only head it forward. He was stretching for it, and goalkeeper Trafford has the ball in his hands.
Yeah, it was slightly behind him, John. The cross just went behind him. He couldn't really adjust his body. I think he was offside as well, possibly.
Oh, and Ruben Diaz almost gave the ball away to Bellegarde, hence the gasps you heard from the Wolves supporters. Then Doherty is in tight on Doku again. Now Hoover on the right. Bellegarde is able just to turn away, twist away into that strip of sunshine now on the far side of the pitch. And Muller, Wolfer, a lot was asked of him, but he did get a touch on it. And actually, Munetsi's done well to win a corner, Wolves' first corner, which has been disputed by Rico Lewis, but referee Gillett has given it, and he's not going to change his mind.
John, I've got to say, I think that's a goal kick. Oh, actually, what happened is Munetsi made a strong challenge on Lewis, and as he went to the ground, his foot just went onto the ball and it carried it out, and Gerrard's given a corner. And listen, they need to score this, get themselves back into the game.
They do. It's in added time, these 5 minutes of added time. We're in the 3rd minute of added time now. It's going to be taken from the left-hand side by Bellegarde into the 6-yard box. Trafford comes, unconvincing punch. João Gomez, Doherty got in his way, and the cross from João Gomez is caught by Trafford, who was on the edge of the 6-yard box. Doherty just impeded João Gomez there when he was looking to take it down.
Yeah, he did. Trafford on the initial corner. He was decisive, a lot of traffic, and he came back in and he collected that cross.
James Trafford, who was in the last 3 England squads. Stones carrying it forward. Now Reinders in the box again. The danger men, but across comes Agbadou to deflect it out of play, and it's gone from a corner at one end to a corner at the other to City.
It's that man again, Reinders, making a break in that sort of inside channel. Played in brilliantly by John Stones. Good cover by the Wolves defender, but a corner for them to defend with 2 minutes to go.
Yes, I think our new Match of the Day presenter tonight, Chris, I think he's going to be asking Wayne Rooney and Alan Shearer questions about Tijani Reinders when this match appears on it, unless I'm very much mistaken. Here's Bernardo Silva, who's going to take this corner from the right-hand side. It's a deep one. Haaland heads it down. Doku keeps it in. It hit him on the body. Sarr dives down, and the Wolves goalkeeper got enough on that to deflect it away, and it's cleared away downfield out of play near the halfway line.
John, what I've noticed on corners, they're very zonal, Wolves, and they leave Doku at the far post. Yeah, and they come out and they leave him, and it got flicked to him. The problem with being zonal is sometimes you shirk that responsibility on the man you're marking.
So Manchester City are back in possession on the halfway line. We've got just over a minute of the first 45 plus added time to play. Manchester City leading through those 2 quick goals, bang bang as they say in cricket, from Haaland and Reinders, and Manchester City from that point on very much in control. So a throw in for Wolves. David Muller Wolfer, the only new summer signing, who's in the starting lineup for Wolves for this match. As I say, I suspect we'll see Fer Lopez, maybe John Arias as well, the Colombian international. Wolves lose it in centre field. Here's Rico Lewis, who turns in and is tripped by Strand Larsen, and that's a free kick to Manchester City. With Oscar Bob, Chris, Oscar Bob and Lewis on this side of the field, some lovely combinations between the two of them, and that was a feature when they've played together in the past as well. And yet it seems that Rico Lewis is certainly a target for Nottingham Forest from what we hear.
Well, I've got to say, you would think that Lewis and Oscar Bob have played together over a number of years through the academy system. They've been given their chances by Pep, and without Bob having the injury he had last year, he would have really grown. He showed flashes last season and the season before of it's over.
That's half-time whistle. In actual fact, Manchester City took that free kick downfield. It was rather carelessly headed behind by Hoover for a corner, which Jared Gillett hasn't allowed Manchester City to take, and they are not best pleased. Yeah. Bernardo Silva and Haaland's walking away, smile on his face. Bernardo Silva, as the captain, is now having the conversation.
Well, the referee doesn't have a right to let the team have it. If the time's up, the time's up. Unless it's going to be a penalty kick, you can blow the whistle and that's it.
Yeah, and Bernardo Silva is not letting it lie, but I suspect that's what Jared Gillett has just said. Nevertheless, Chris Powell, Manchester City will be very happy with their position at half-time.
Good start, a good first 45 minutes, dominant with possession, and they kept the width well with Doku and Bob, but Reinders really was the main man of the half, not only breaking up attacks of Wolves, but making runs with and without the ball. Got his goal, the second goal. Bob brilliantly created the first one for Haaland, and they find themselves 2-0, and it could have actually been more.
So there we are, half-time at Molineux. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Manchester City 2.
And we'll be back there in 15 minutes or so for the second half, and then it is 6:06 with Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton. 08085 909 693. Aberdeen, Partick Thistle, Motherwell and St Mirren through in the Scottish League Cup so far this afternoon. St Mirren on penalties, Motherwell after extra time. The final tie of the day is at Ibrox. Kenny Crawford.
36 minutes gone here in Glasgow. Rangers 2, Alloa 1. Nedim Barami, the Albania international, curled Rangers in front with a lovely shot in off the bar after 14 minutes. Then in a rare Alloa attack, they equalised. Stefan Skugel's shot was cleared on to Joe Rothwell, and it trundled into the net, and then Joe Rothwell made up for that own goal by curling in a nice cross for Emmanuel Fernandez to head down into the bottom left hand corner, putting Rangers 2-1 up against League One Alloa Athletic.
Some win for Australia in the Rugby Championship. The opening game in the last half hour or so, it's finished, and they have beaten South Africa in Johannesburg by 38 points to 22. And if you want to know how historic that is, it's their first win at Ellis Park for 62 years. Opening weekend of the Premier League. Earlier, Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0, Brighton 1, Fulham 1, Sunderland 3, West Ham 0, Tottenham 3, Burnley 0. We'll get loads of reaction during half-time at Molineux after Joe Critcher in the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Police have arrested a 47-year-old man after Bournemouth player Antoine Semenyo reported being racially abused during the opening match at the Premier League at Anfield yesterday. Officers removed a man from the stadium, and he's now been detained on suspicion of a racially aggravated public order offence. President Trump says further talks on Ukraine should focus on a full peace deal with Russia rather than a ceasefire. The two leaders failed to reach a deal after meeting in Alaska yesterday. Ukraine's President Zelensky is heading to Washington to talk to Mr. Trump on Monday. Police Scotland have begun an investigation after pupils at a primary school in Midlothian were added to a WhatsApp group and told to send explicit photos. The children are thought to be aged around 9 and 10. The school tipped off police after being alerted to the group's existence. Anyone who reports shoplifting at Iceland will be given a £1 reward credited to their Iceland bonus card. The company says it's made the offer because of rising thefts at its stores, costing around £20 million a year.
He scored goals, lifted trophies and broken records along the way.
There it is! It's a day to remember for Wayne Rooney!
And now he's got a podcast.
Welcome to the Wayne Rooney Show.
Twice a week, Wayne Rooney, Kay Kurd and me, Kelly Summers, break down the biggest stories in the Premier League and beyond.
As much as you'd like to say it, loyalty in football now is non-existent, whether that's from players or managers.
Plus, we'll hear the funniest, wildest and most outrageous stories from Wayne's career.
The Wayne Rooney Show.
Everybody's talking about it.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Wolves 0, Manchester City 2, second half on the way. It couldn't have gone much better for Sunderland earlier on their return to the Premier League. 3-0 they beat West Ham at the Stadium of Light. Here's Regis Lebris with Rob Schofield.
Yeah, very positive for the club, for the players, for the organisation and for the fans, because we'll come back to the Premier League, and for them it was amazing today.
So much has been made about these 11 players that you've brought in, but the three key scorers across the playoff campaign. I mean, what do you think that says about the team and what they showed today?
I think we showed today what was our main strength last season, our togetherness, the way we can suffer together, and we feel that we are strong as a unit. So it's really well played from the coaching staff, from the recruitment structure as well, and for the players to give this important key pillars to our team.
Absolutely spine-tingling moments and atmosphere pre and post-match. I mean, just tell us from your point of view how special that was, a career highlight perhaps.
Yeah, we were like in our playoffs 2 months ago, and I think these fans, this stadium is absolutely massive. And we felt their energy during the whole game. They are really important for us.
I'm sure you feel that you've got to build on this now with an opportunity with the games to come.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to reset early because we can enjoy today. Probably tomorrow we'll restart a new week with a different game, a different story. So it's always a question of being ready for the next stage.
This is what Graham Potter made of his side's defeat.
Ironically, I didn't think there was much in the game in terms of in between the boxes, but where it's really important, and you can see today that we weren't good enough. In the boxes defensively, we didn't do better with the goals. I thought first half we played well. I thought we were arguably the better team, controlled the game, and lucky not to score, probably should have scored. And then second half, it's stop-starts of the game. The flow wasn't quite there, and then before we know it, we're 2-0 down, and it happened too quickly. So in this environment, it becomes very difficult then.
2 for Richarlison this afternoon, one a stunning bicycle kick and the other for Brennan Johnson as Tottenham beat Burnley 3-0. Here's Thomas Frank with John Southall.
Thomas, your first home game, your first victory. What are the emotions now?
Of course, extremely happy, but I would say it's that relief because you go into every game and you know there's a chance of a win and a draw and a loss. Of course, I knew that if we perform well, we have a very good chance to win against Burnley today, with all respect to Burnley, of course. And overall, we performed well. We had a very short turnaround from a very emotional defeat. We actually played 2-2 against PSG, and then we lost in penalties. So very emotional game where we did well. Big credit. I know it's very early days, so ask us after game 30 in the season. I loved the clean sheet. I loved the 3 goals. I loved the mentality of the players. I loved Richarlison's performance. A lot of others I could mention, and kudos, of course, but those 2 was probably 2 of the standout. And especially Richarlison, his work ethic, his willingness to be there for the team, and then 2 great finishes.
Let's talk about Richarlison, because it hasn't always been easy for him. He's had injuries as well. I mean, how important is he to you? And from what you've seen on the training ground, I mean, how good could he be for you? To
be fair, I always liked Richarlison when I saw him at Everton, and also he had Spurs when he played. So the how can I say, the challenge is to make him strong and fit enough, and that we are very aware of. This is a first good start, and I'm happy with his performance.
And that might not be the only good news for Tottenham fans this evening, because it's been reported that they will accelerate their move to sign Eberechi Eze in the next 48 hours. Talks are expected to progress. He did have a release clause clause, did Eze, but that has expired. It was worth an initial £60 million. So Spurs are trying to negotiate an offer slightly below that figure. Here's Scott Parker on Burnley's defeat.
General assessment, I thought we started the game slowly today, and they put us under big pressure certainly early on, and they have a big chance early on, and we was really under immense pressure at that moment. They get their nose in front. I thought after that, our general reaction was superb, and I thought we go for the last 20 minutes of that first half with a real impetus about us and looked a real threat. And generally, in terms of our general endeavour and our reaction after the start, I was very pleased with the clinicalness and the ruthlessness of the Premier League. Is probably what you've seen today, because I don't know what it was, for 59 minutes we have two massive chances of 1-0, and the ruthlessness of that is, the criticisms from ours, we've not been ruthless. It falls, and it's probably half a chance for Richarlison, and he's pulled off a world-class finish, and the game goes away from us, really. So
I was going to say, he's scored 2 world-class goals, hasn't he, today, Richarlison?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, two very, very good finishes, and they had a fine margins, and that's this division, really. So the learning for us is obviously for us to take our chances when they come, and certainly we had a few chances today, and I was pleased with that, really.
Scott Parker with John Southall. Rodrigo Muniz got a late equaliser for Fulham at Brighton. Here's Marco Silva.
Rodrigo Muniz came on, made an impact. What about that for a finish? No rustiness, was there, the way he took it down and slotted it away?
He's capable to do it. It's not the first time in tight areas that he's capable to make the first good touch, and after to finish the moment, he did it again in a corner. Normally it's very tight, and he was able to do it. He didn't rush the first decision, and of course, when you are inside the box, if your first decision and touch is good, normally you are able to, in the second, to finalize as a striker, and he did very, very well. And he showed what he's capable to do inside the box. We know that we have 2 strikers that they are very good on it, and Rodrigo, again, it's not the first time, it's not going to be the last for sure, that had a massive impact in the way you want to play and score an important goal for us.
That's the Premier League. Main stories from the Championship. Coventry got a 5-3 win at Derby in what was arguably the game of the day in any division. Middlesbrough, West Brom and Stoke, the 3 sides with 100% records, though. Fans of both Sheffield clubs may be worried. 2 defeats from 2 for both of them. Stevenage, the only side with a 100% record in League One. They beat Northampton 2-0. Chesterfield and Crewe have 100% records in League Two. Chesterfield beat Bristol Rovers. Crewe beat Crawley. Plenty to talk about with Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton. Chris?
Yep, you forgot to mention Norwich City, important win away at Portsmouth, Mark, in the Championship.
I didn't forget to mention it. I was just looking at the headlines, Chris, and that's those with 100% records are those who've lost 2.
Yeah, but that's a headline in the eastern part of the country.
It is, but Norwich are 11th.
Okay.
1-1 lost one. I mean,
a solid 11th at this moment in time. Bit of work to do, but we want to hear from Sunderland fans. I think that's the story of the day. I've got to say, Mark, I was one who sort of wrote them off. A promoted team, but beating West Ham.
Unusually negative from you.
Well, I'm just holding my hand up and saying, maybe I've got that wrong. They've brought a lot of players in, spent a lot of money, but quite like what they've done. If I was a Sunderland supporter, I'd be really, really excited. And then West Ham on the flip side of that. Just heard Potter there talking about not good enough in both boxes. That's a huge worry. West Ham fans, you think you're going to be in a relegation battle this season? Tottenham Hotspur, you won 3-0 under Thomas Frank. Really good performance from them. Feels like it could be a long season for Burnley. And Newcastle, I watched their game earlier, Mark, against Aston Villa. I mean, is it too simplistic to say had they had a striker they would have won that game? That's the way it felt to me. Villa, certainly were a little bit flat. And I saw the interview you did with Alan Shearer earlier, talking about Alexander Isak, and it wasn't a belittling offer. Alan said it was £110 million from Liverpool. I'm not so sure. Have Liverpool done anything wrong in this? I mean, Newcastle fans, let's hear your opinion on Isak, and want to hear from Stoke Borough, West Brom fans at the top of the Championship, and Derby and Blackburn, Wrexham, Moneybags Wrexham. They've lost 2-2, and you're right about the Sheffield clubs. They're rock bottom. They should never have sacked Chris Wilder, Sheffield United, should they?
Chris, thank you very much. 08085 909 693. In the 100 today, wins for Southern Brave and Oval Invincibles in the women's competition. Trent Rockets in the men's, and Dan Norcross is watching Oval Invincibles against Welsh Fire.
They're 84 for 2 off 47 balls. They started magnificently, an opening partnership of 76 between Tawanda Muyeye, who made 33 off just 15 balls, and Will Jacks, who's just got out for 38 from 28 balls. The Welsh Fire desperately need to win this. They're sitting near the bottom of the table. If the Invincibles win this, they'll go top. 84 for 2 from 47 balls.
Sports Extra 2 and BBC 2 if you want to follow that. From 10 o'clock tonight here on 5 Live, we've got the all-British heavyweight clash between Moses Atoma and former world title challenger Dillian Whyte. Steve Bunce is in Riyadh, and Steve, from 7:30 you'll have the stacked undercard on Extra.
And here's a stacked undercard. Britain's only male world champion Nick Ball defends his title against an unbeaten Australian in Brett Goodman, which is a terrific fight, don't get me wrong, but there's a really interesting heavyweight fight. David Adelaide from Ladbroke Grove up against an Olympic medalist, a world amateur medalist, a European amateur medalist called Filip Hrgovic. That's the teaser, that's the taster. And then from 10 p.m. your time, which is midnight our time, it's the heavyweight unknowns. Dillian Whyte, what's he got left against Moses Atama? What's Moses Atama's future going to be like? We will find out. I think we'll find out between about rounds 4 and 8. That's Atama against Dillian Whyte, and that will be from 10 p.m. your time.
Thank you. Here on 5 Live, Keely Hodgkinson had a new world lead time to win the women's 800 metres race at the Diamond League event in Poland. Half-time at Ibrox. Kenny?
Yeah, Rangers 2, Alloa 1, Nedim Bayrami and Emmanuel Fernandez with the goals for the host. Joe Rothwell's OG briefly bringing Alloa back into it, but lots for Rangers to do to kill off this tie in the second half. Rangers 2, Alloa 1.
Thank you very much, Kenny. Our producers had several mentions today, but during the first half of Wolves Manchester City, she said to me, Chris Powell sounds so familiar as a summariser to me, and I just can't think where I've been hearing him do so many matches. And then after about 10 seconds, she went, oh yeah, Ted Lasso. Do you know what Ted Lasso is, John?
Well, funnily enough, I thought I'm not going to touch on that, but predictably you have.
Well, it didn't come from me, it came from Claire. I would imagine the summariser fee from Apple is a bit more than the BBC. All yours.
Thanks very much. Yeah, but we've laid on cheesecake, haven't we? Or more precisely, Wolverhampton Wanderers have laid on cheesecake, which was delicious, wasn't it?
It certainly was, yeah.
Yes. So that was delicious. Manchester City and Tijani Reinders have been delicious on a couple of occasions. No changes at the break. They're all in position now for the start of the second half. Wolves in the gold shirts with the black numbers, black shorts. There's the whistle from Jared Gillett. The score, Wolves 0, Manchester City 2 as the second period gets underway. And Wolves playing from left to right towards the Sir Jack Hayward stand, where Manchester City scored those 2 goals, quick-fire goals from Haaland and Reinders. And the Wolves team saw in goal Doherty, Agbadou and captain Totti Gomez. Hoover on the right, Müller Wolfer on the left, Andre and João Gomez in the middle, then Jean-Rickner Bellegarde and Marshall Munetzi and Jorgen Strand Larsen as the number 9, both in terms of position and indeed the number on his back. And Manchester City, the team that they've started the season with no longer any De Bruyne, Grealish on loan, and Kyle Walker gone now as well, and Rodri and Foden incidentally are here sitting in the stands. I'll run it through it in a moment, but Hoover for Wolves, Strand Larsen! Oh, just wide on the left foot, arriving on it, 8 yards out, Chris, but couldn't direct it on target.
Well, he needs to hit the target with that, John. I mean, for a number 9, that's what you practice day in, day out. Brilliant cross by Hoover on the right-hand side. He broke the defensive line of Man City, pulled it back. He's arriving on the penalty spot, puts it wide.
Vitor Pereira down there, threw his water bottle down in frustration. And you can understand why. And there was a slight angle to it. He was arriving on the right side of the penalty area. But for Wolves, really, that had to go in.
Yes, it did. They need to take chances and moments like this, especially just starting into the second half. What I'm surprised at, John, they made no changes.
Yeah, no changes at the break. And they do have 2 of their other new signings, as well as Müller Wolfer, John Arias and Fer Lopez, who played in the final pre-season match last weekend as Wolves spread play. Agbadou, long pass out to the far side, comes back to the halfway line. So the Manchester City team James Trafford is playing in goal, but Ederson actually is ill, so he's not involved, but he is not very well. So James Trafford making his Premier League debut for Manchester City, having been at Manchester City earlier in his career after he left Carlisle United. And so Trafford in goal, back four of Lewis, Stones, Diaz, and making his debut against his former team, Ait Nouri at left back. Then Nico Gonzalez, Bernardo Silva, the captain, the new captain, replacing Kevin De Bruyne. Tijani Reinders, who was heavily involved in the first goal, scored the second himself. And then the front line of Oscar Bob on the right, Jeremy Doku on the left, and Erling Haaland, who's already scored his first goal of this season. As Wolves try to attack, ball played out. Oh, that's a nice pass from Hoover, but the arriving Müller-Wolfer stretching for it, couldn't get a touch, and it's out of play for a throw. Another one of those if-only moments, and Strand Larsen is actually on the ground, on his back, with his hands on his face.
Yeah. Now, no one touched him, and he had a problem in the first half. And I think he may have aggravated a problem from the first half. That's what it looked like. There was an innocuous sort of coming together, but I got a feeling he's may have just twisted it, or he looks in a bit of pain.
The hope will be that maybe he's just maybe taking a knock on the ankle bone or something like that. Although I think they're going to take his boot off.
He's taking the boot off, yes.
His right boot. That's not a great sign.
Well, that says to me, John, that they most probably strapped him up to get through the second half. Maybe it's a bit tight. Maybe it's restricted him in his movement, and he's just caught it wrong. So hopefully he can recover and carry on.
So that is Chris Powell, former England defender, long-time England coach under Gareth Southgate, who's here with us on BBC Radio 5 live at Molineux. Strand Larsen still receiving treatment. Quick word, Chris, I'm sure Sheffield Wednesday fans will probably be listening on the way back from their defeat against Stoke today. It's just a very sorry situation, isn't it? You recently left there.
Yes, John, I mean, it's a superb club, let me say that straight off the bat, but the ownership, the running of the football club, with no plan, no vision for the area, for the club, for the supporters, it's really disappointing that it's got to the position it's in now, but I really hope they can pull through.
Yep, so Sheffield Wednesday, troubled Sheffield Wednesday, losing 3-0 at home to Stoke. 6:06 for calls. I'm sure Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton will be taking calls on Sheffield Wednesday tonight. 08085 909 693. The lines are open. Hashtag BBC 606. And this season, in case you were wondering, and I was wondering as well, with Robbie Savage now at Forest Green, Robbie will be with Chris on 606 on Sunday nights, but not Saturday nights. Strand Larsen is off the pitch now, and actually they've taken his sock off, and we can see, you are absolutely right, Chris, he's got his right foot bandaged up so we can see his bare toes, and they're I think re-bandaging him.
Yes, they are, and let me tell you, footballers' toes are not the prettiest, John. So they'll be trying to get him back on, because playing with 11 men is hard enough when you're 2-0 down, but to be down to 10, no focal point, it's going to be very, very difficult for them in the next 5 minutes.
Well, he has been bandaged, he's now putting his sock on, so those toes have disappeared. Some footballers' fingers aren't too
goalkeepers.
Well, Rob Green, I don't know whether you've seen Rob's fingers.
Yeah.
No offence, Rob, but they're not the prettiest fingers. As City have the ball inside the Wolves half. Wolves 0, Manchester City 2. They're playing without Strand Larsen at the moment while he gets himself sorted out. So Manchester City dominating the ball as it's headed away by Hoover, and then cleared away down the right-hand side. Kiane Hoover for Wolves. Remember the Dutchman, Dutch under-21 international he was at Liverpool, but has been on loan from Wolves at Auxerre in France last season, but now here and starting the first match of the season as the right wing back. Strand Larsen is now back onto the field, and he's just testing that. You can see Oscar Bob, hair flying for Manchester City, weaving his way into the penalty area. Lewis is there as well. Wolves trying to get bodies in the way. Cross comes over to the edge of the area where Ait Nouri rather slashed at that with his left foot, sliced it high over the top of the bar into the stand. Cullis stand behind the goal to the left.
So, John, you just mentioned Hoover, a right back. We haven't mentioned Nelson Semedo, a very, very good player, a stalwart really over the years, and haven't replaced the right back. And Hoover hasn't played a lot for Wolves. You just mentioned the loan move. So for someone like him to come into today shows you that Wolves, they're maybe still searching for a right back to replace Semedo.
Yes, for all of Mateus Cunha's departure, one of the regular Wolves people was telling me earlier that Semedo was the biggest loss, actually, as Manchester City come forward again, but João Gomez does well. Wolves 2-0 down in this match, not really been able to make any impression so far in the second half. Totti Gomez passes it back to José Sarr, and then out to Andre, now to the left-hand side, where Müller-Wolfer is put under pressure and forced. Well, the Wolves supporters don't like that it's been given as a throw in Manchester City's way. Müller-Wolfer, who was being put under pressure. City take the throw. The Manchester City fans, if you've been here as an away supporter, you'll know exactly where they are, in the lower tier of this Steve Bull stand, all the way along that far side of the pitch with gold Wolves fans above them. As challenge on Ait Nouri from Andre, and then it's played infield by Munetsi. Andre did well to get a touch to that. Bellegarde is rather bundled over by Reinders, goes down, and it's the first yellow card of the match for Reinders, who might have received one in the first half, but he does get one now. First yellow card.
Tactical foul there by Man City. We've seen Rodri do that many a time over the years, because Wolves were away. Müller-Wolfer was in on the left. It was just receiving that pass, but a foul by Reinders, a yellow card. Wolves set the play again.
Yeah, Rodri, who is here with the Manchester City squad, so that's a positive sign, isn't it? Even though he's not expected back until after the first international window. Wolves playing the ball down the right for Hoover to chase, but he can't reach that, and it's out of play for a throw into Manchester City on the edge of the box. And Phil Foden as well is also here. Big season for him to try and recapture his form, and of course this is a season that will end with a World Cup in the United States, which we will be bringing you with 48 teams involved most of next summer, which should be very exciting. Anyway, that seems like a long way away now. Manchester City leading by 2-0, and Wolves in possession, playing the ball down the line, but Bellegarde can't reach that. It was misplaced by Müller-Wolfer, and Müller-Wolfer is saying to the assistant on the far side, it took a deflection, it should be our throw, and the assistant has agreed with him.
He certainly has, and as you said, Jimmy Armfield would always say they're closer than us.
Yes. And actually the way that he appealed for that was like, that excellent test series that I've been watching this summer. India, one of the England bowlers on one of those featherbed pitches, appealing, but he got the decision. So throw in, Wolves got it over to the right hand side now, as Bernardo Silva back towards the edge of the box. Ruben Diaz takes it down, curls it forward. Doku, heavy touch from that, so Agbadou was able to clear it away, comes back at Manchester City. Haaland has eased over Totti Gomez. That was always going to be given as a free kick as they chased after the ball together. Haaland just points his finger at the referee, but it's a free kick to Wolves.
Yes, it was. Totti was there first, the new captain, and Haaland just felt it was a chance to just tell the centre-back he's around and put him to the ground.
I think you'd be well aware of that, Chris. So Haaland, having scored the opening goal, did actually score in the last 3 matches at the Club World Cup. Ball played forward. I thought Strand Larsen might have been offside there. Anyway, play continues. Hoover now forward. Munetsi, right side of the area. Ball across to the back post. No one gets a touch, whether in sky blue or gold. Müller-Wolfer picks up possession on the left-hand side. Rico Lewis is chasing after him. Müller-Wolfer takes it all the way back towards the halfway line. Now Andre again. Absolutely crucial that Wolves get this next goal and get themselves a toehold in the match. No immediate sign of that happening, however. Ball over the top, Stones gets up high, heads that away. Andre is then onto it and is able to recapture it from Gonzalez. Now Doherty forward to Andre Silva, who's got Bernardo Silva trying to win it back from him, and then a challenge just caught Doku, just caught Andre, and that's a free kick to Wolves. And Bernardo Silva is protesting about that. And are they saying that it should have been given as offside when the ball was played through?
I actually think he was onside.
Onside, Strand Larsen.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So valid. Bernardo Silva continues to chat away. That is one of the slight differences for this season. This directive about only the captains approaching referees, and any other player who does it, who's not the captain, is expected to get a yellow card for that. Wolves 0, Manchester City 2. 5 live from the BBC. We're on the BBC Sounds app as well. You can listen there. Bellegarde plays this nicely for Strand Larsen with a chance, but whether it was deflected or whether he just slightly sliced it, Trafford was quite easily able just to help it, push it up over the top of the crossbar. Corner.
Clever free kick, John, because Man City were expecting the ball to be delivered into the penalty area. Strand Larsen just made a cute run just down the side of the wall, got the ball onto his right foot, but cleared by Trafford, resulting in a corner.
Here's the corner. Muller-Wölfer is taking it, but that doesn't beat the first man. Headed away by Ait Nouri. Back to Muller-Wölfer. Right-footed ball in. Took a deflection off the legs of Ait Nouri. That was cleared away by Diaz. And now the ball is kept in by Agbadou. And Wolves are just beginning to build a bit of pressure on Manchester City here. It's funny, the number of times I've been here when, if they do get their tails up, when they're attacking towards the popular end, the Sir Jack Hayward end of this ground, I've seen them do some remarkable things.
Yeah, there's been some outstanding games and results here over the years where when they're attacking that end, they seem to get themselves back into games.
For visiting teams, you do not want to allow them to build that momentum. And if there's any team that is capable of stopping that kind of thing simply through possession of the football, it's Pep Guardiola's team. There he is down on the touchline with his hands in his pockets. Contract to 2027. And no Rodri again at the start of this season. De Bruyne not there anymore. But all of these new signings with possibly more to come. Doku playing it back towards the left back position to Diaz, and then to the new goalkeeper, the re-signed James Trafford, who might well be in the picture once England confirm their qualification for the World Cup. Lovely now again from Tijjani Reinders, plays it out to Bob Reinders, back to Haaland, scores on his left foot. Sarr down to his right, got a touch, couldn't keep it out. 2 goals for Erling Haaland on the opening Saturday of the Premier League, and yet again Tijjani Reinders was right at the heart of this move. Finished by Haaland, but Reinders instrumental. Wolves 0, Manchester City 3 now.
Well, he's instrumental, but it actually started by James Trafford, because he was very calm, and instead of playing short, he played a fantastic pass over the pressure of Wolves into Reinders' path. Well, Reinders, we spoke about him in the first half, but that run just then, the interchange, I think with Oscar Bob in the final third, pulls it back into Haaland's path. There was only going to be one result. Something going on, John.
Yeah, there's a bit of nonsense. I don't know whether something's been said. Strand Larsen seems to be involved. This was in the aftermath of the goal and the Manchester City celebration, and it looks as though it's Lewis and Strand Larsen, which is a bit of a mismatch. Strand Larsen is towering over him, and meanwhile, just down to our left, while referee Gillett sorts that out, John Stones is there, and Ruben Dias as well, and Rico Lewis. And the only Wolves player who's involved in now this four-way discussion is Strand Larsen. And in the end, the referee's had a long talk with them and has sent them all on their way. As I say, meanwhile, down to our left, the Manchester City are suddenly preparing 3 changes And we're just seeing now our little television screen here, Lewis and Strand Larsen had a bit of a to-do in the aftermath of that. So it was those two players, and Strand Larsen was pointing his finger at Lewis, who kept tapping it away. Every time he pointed at him, Strand Larsen, Lewis sort of slapped his hand away.
The only thing I can think of, John, is when City scored, whether Lewis actually did something towards Strand Larsen. I don't get it.
Yeah, and maybe said something, I don't know. What are we missing? Oh, there's a ball. There's still a ball on the field over there that someone's had to hop over the hoardings and get it off the field. And so we're going to have a triple change. So Mateus Nunes is going to come on against his former club. Not popular for the way that he left Wolverhampton Wanderers, so you'll know when he's in possession. Marmouche is going to come on as well, and Nico O'Reilly, who made great strides last season for Manchester City despite their troubles. So a triple change, 3-0 up, first match of the season. And remember, City have played only one pre-season match this season because they were involved in the FIFA Club World Cup, and so the players came back late. So I think not a surprise.
It's not a surprise, and actually, John, in many ways it will help them because I haven't had too many weeks off, so their relationships, their training, getting up to speed, they never really got out of speed. To start this season, I think, what did they have? Only one pre-season game?
Pre-season, yeah, against Palermo.
They've got straight back into their stride, and they're showing their quality today for sure.
And actually, in that match against Palermo, we played really effectively one team in the first half and a different team in the second half. So changes are coming. Wolves 3-0 down. This game is probably gone for them. They go to Bournemouth next Saturday. Bellegarde, though, coming forward for Wolves. Here is Muller-Wolfert crossing, but Rico Lewis gets a foot on that, deflects it into the stand. That took him right up to the hoardings there in front of the Sir Jack Hayward stand, and I think some of those Wolves fans in the front row told him exactly what they thought of him after his coming together with Strand Larsen. But it is a Wolves corner from over there on the far side. Lines open for 6:06. I'll give you the number in a moment. But in comes the corner for Wolves, doesn't beat the first defender.
Again, John, by the way.
Headed away, and that was Bellegarde. They tried to give it back to Bellegarde with a pass from the centre circle. That was way beyond him, out of play. And we're going to have these three changes now. And yes, there are the boos, predictably,
you called that
for Mateus Nunes. If I remember rightly, I think there was a downing of tools went on there as well at one stage. Before, here he is coming on. His name's just been announced, and he's going to take the place of Rico Lewis. And also leaving are Jeremy Doku. So Marmouche, there's a full-throated boo for Mateus Nunes when he sprints onto the field out towards the far side. There is, if there's one stadium in the country that is very capable of letting you know what they think about you, it's Molineux, isn't it? And the other change sees Bernardo Silva coming off. So let's see how they're going to rejig this. Quite possibly Lewis playing in midfield, and well, we'll see. Let's not second guess him. He's capable of doing anything.
Well, Nick O'Reilly is. I mean, he played left back a lot last year, but actually he's a midfielder by trade. He won't be going left back today with Nuri there, so I'd expect him to fit in almost as a number 6, number 8 for Man City.
Yeah, so that's what he's doing. So a triple change. Wolves 0, Manchester City 3. Lines open to talk to Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton on 08085 909 693 hashtag BBC 606, and text if you want to get in touch that way, 85058 at the standard message rate, as Wolves. Doherty very nearly lost possession to Marmouche, did lose actually, fouled him, pulled him over, yellow card for Doherty.
Brilliant pressure by Marmouche. He dawdled on the ball, Matt Doherty, and he nicked it away from him. Marmouche, definite yellow card.
Yeah, and actually they wouldn't have needed, if it had been 10 yards further away downfield, then you might have been in danger of a red, but right decision, yellow there. They were covering defenders, and Rico Lewis has just been making his way around the pitch, and I think more Wolves fans have perhaps suggested to him that he shouldn't be mixing it with Jorgen Strand Larsen here. Now, Manchester City on the left. Ait Nouri with the cross against his old club, but that was blocked on the edge of the penalty area by Doherty. It's going to be taken away by Munetsi. Does well. Strong play from the Zimbabwean international. Then Andre with a pass. That's decent as well, into the path of Müller-Wolfer, but he's checked back, and in doing that, all those sky blue shirts back in position before you know it. And Wolves themselves are preparing for 3 changes. Rodrigo Gomez is going to come on. Hugo Bueno also, and we will see Fer Lopez. So it's going to be a 3-way change, and another of the Wolves summer signings, Fer Lopez, is going to come on for his Premier League debut. So Wolves 0, Manchester City 3, and as I say, 6:06 on the way. You can read about all of today's football on the football pages of the BBC Sport website. Shamoun Hafez is here writing about it, so you'll read his report on this match later. Match of the day tonight, Alan Shearer and Wayne Rooney. Premier League highlights on the website during the course of the evening. That's new for this season. And if you search Football Daily on BBC Sounds, you will find all manner of 5 Live football podcasts, including the new Wayne Rooney show, which is also brand new for this season. Wolves coming forward, but Müller-Wolfer, not for the first time today, is incredulous that his decision has not gone his way. And actually, we're going to see a 4-way change for Wolves, and John Arias is also going to come on. So a quadruple substitution.
How many
One
times?
of my favourites, a quadruple substitution.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many
commentator.
times have you seen that, John?
Well, hopefully as few as possible. The only thing that's worse than a quadruple substitution is a quintuple substitution, which we've had in international football, Chris. But you might have been partly responsible for a couple of them.
Once or twice.
Yes. Wolves 0, Manchester City 3. So good luck to the Wolves staff with all of the paperwork. As Oscar Pope plays it back centrally. Manchester City in control. 2 goals from Haaland, so he's on for another potential hat-trick. That would set a marker down, wouldn't it? Still on the field. He's lurking dangerously. And as you were saying in the first half, it is one of those days where you're thinking, actually, he's only had 2 chances.
And 2 goals.
And 2 goals.
That's what he's played for.
Yeah. Mateus Nunez.
Here he goes again.
Yes, for Manchester City. Passes exchanged. John Stones, but players tidied up by Reinders. Without doubt, he's going to be one of the players that will be capturing the eye this season. Tijani Reinders, if what we've seen here today is any indication, as Manchester City win another free kick near the halfway line, but take it quickly. We're going to see those quadruple changes very shortly. When we do, we'll be going to Ibrox. That'll be a good opportunity. Reinders, for once, gets it wrong, passes it one way, Haaland goes the other, and Wolves are able to clear it away downfield. So let's go to Ibrox then, in the League Cup. Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, 59 minutes gone still. Rangers 2, Alloa 1. So at the moment it's Russell Martin's side heading into the quarter-final draw later this evening. They'd like that cushion to be more comfortable. They're trying to get that third goal. Danilo's had a couple of chances. And talking of substitutions, John, Connor Salmon has just come on for Alloa Athletic, former Derby and Wigan Athletic frontman. Remember him?
Yes, he's another one as well. So yes, thank you, Kenny. Choice of listening at the moment. So the Premier League is here on 5 Live with Manchester City coasting to victory. I can say that quite confidently, I think. On Sports Extra and Sports Extra 2 on the BBC Sounds app, the 100 commentary continues as Nico Gonzalez is upended by João Gomez. And on Sports Extra 3, Hull FC against Lee in the Super League. Give you an update on that in a moment. But so the changes. First, Müller-Wolfer after his Premier League debut. Chris, what did you think of him at left wing back?
Very willing. It was up and down. Tactically, they tried to get them in more advanced positions in the second half, and he tried to get up and down. It's his first game, so he has to adapt to Premier League. I'm sure he'll get there.
Also, Andre is being substituted from the midfield, and he did take a knock, didn't he, in the first half, so that may or may not be connected.
Yeah, maybe they're saving him. The game's got away from them now, really. good player. More to come from him and more to come from Wolves, but maybe for the last 20 minutes they're trying to just get people like Lopez and Arias a bit of time in the Premier League.
Yeah, John Arias.
Replacing number 26, Kenyon Hoover.
So as you heard,
number 21, Rodrigo Gomez.
Hoover is off, and Rodrigo Gomez is going to come on to play as presumed win back.
Number 27, Jean-Ric Bellegarde, is number 10, John Arias.
Well, they've got high hopes for John Arias, who is a Colombian international who caught the eye at the recent FIFA Club World Cup. And
this is interesting.
Oh, Haaland is off. So no hat-trick for Haaland. And Ryan Cherki is going to come on. 22 tomorrow. This is his Premier League debut. Signed for £34 million this summer from Lyon in France. He is a French international, and he is the new number 10 with Jack Grealish having moved. He has been given the number 10 for this new season.
So, well, he's a good player. He's caught the eye at Lyon. People have known about Cherki for a number of years, but be interesting where he plays now. Is this a false nine? Because they don't have a recognised striker on the pitch.
No, they don't. Well, Marmouche is on there now, but he's still over here on the left-hand side, isn't he? Having just come onto the field. City 3-0 up, 5 live from the BBC. Trafford! Whoa, that was Ederson-like on his goal line. Left that to the very last moment. They were able to clear it away, but Wolves have won it back. Pass angled forward by Lopez. Now right side of the box. Cross towards the back post by Arias, still inside the edge of the area. Munetsi hits the shot. There's a shout for handball there. I doubt that'll be given as a penalty because it was smashed at O'Reilly at point blank range, deflected out of play, and actually Jared Gillett says, hang on a moment, we'll let VAR have a look at it. What do you think?
Oh, it's ball to hand for me, but no, I don't even think it is his hand.
Well, O'Reilly was there, and it also, I think, hit Diaz.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure it hit the arm of either of them. As Ait Nouri plays it back to goalkeeper Trafford. What he will want today, of course, on his Premier League debut, James Trafford, is a clean sheet to add to all of those clean sheets that he clipped with Burnley last season. 29 of them, including 12 in a row at one stage. And he's in Thomas Tuchel's England squad, Chris, James Trafford. And if he's playing regularly in the Premier League for Manchester City, Wolves win it back into the penalty area. Strand Larsen with a shot, close enough to Trafford, just had to drop down to his left to push it away across the penalty area and out for a throw down the Wolves right here.
You can definitely see why Man City brought James Trafford back, because not only as modern day keepers he can play out, but he's a good shot stopper, he's positive on his line, takes risks as he just showed us a minute ago, and he's still quite young, so not only if he plays for City, but England could benefit next year's World Cup, as long as we qualify, of course.
Well, that's right, yes. Got Andorra at Villa Park, but then Belgrade coming up at the start of next month. Serbia away, which of course is on paper the most difficult of the qualifiers, but England having won 3 out of 3, but still, as you will be well aware, work to be done by Thomas Tuchel's England. But I think in a goalkeeping position, Pickford, Dean Henderson, James Trafford, is one of the areas that in recent times, well, let's put it this way, it looks stronger now than it perhaps has done for a little while in depth. Here come Wolves with the ball on the left-hand side into the penalty area, but it's cleared away by Ait Nouri at the back post. Good work by Hugo Bueno down the left. He's playing as the left wing-back now for Wolves. In it comes again for Wolves. Hugo Bueno is there. He's got space left side of the area. Tried to pull it across, but it was a crowded box by then. Blocked away. Munetsi now back in the central midfield. Munetsi, since Andre went off. Then the shot from distance from Agbadou, which was optimistic from 40 yards and flew away over the top right corner by a distance.
John, I've got to say that's the worst decision made by a player today, to shoot from there, because actually Wolves for once just had a little bit of momentum. Crosses from the right, crosses from the left, with Bueno who's just come onto the pitch just to ask questions of Man City. But just going back to, you were talking about the goalkeepers, you didn't mention Pope, Ramsdale, Sam Johnston, who's here. So you're right, we've got 6 or 7 goalkeepers that Thomas will have to choose 3, maybe 4 for training purposes, like they did with Trafford. But yeah, we're looking good in that department.
That's Chris Powell with us on 5 Live, and there will also be 5 Live tonight, more live sport, live from Saudi Arabia, and it will be on Sports Extra from 7:30, by the way. So the undercard on Sports Extra, and then round about 10 o'clock tonight, it's Arma against White in the top of the bill fight that is on 5 Live. Back to Ibrox, Kenny Crawford,
where James Tavernier can put Rangers 3-1 up, and does, and off the post from the penalty spot. He's been at Rangers since 2016, has scored over 100 goals for them, and the captain makes this one comfortable. Bottom left-hand corner, and off the post. Rangers 3, Alloa 1.
Yes, over 100 goals, and a phenomenal amount of them from the penalty spot, James Tavernier, for Rangers. Manchester City 3-0 up. Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton are eagerly awaiting your calls on 085 909 693 as Wolves come forward. But it's been comfortable, this, for Manchester City, certainly from the point where those 2 quick goals went in the first half from Haaland and Reinders, and that second goal for Haaland added in the second half as City come forward again, and it's played forward by Shirky. Marmouche into the box on the left-hand side, but defended well, actually, by Totti Gomez. Stood up strongly. There's the applause from the Wolves supporters as they dispossess him. And then Nico O'Reilly in a little late on Rodrigo Gomez, but play continues with Fer Lopez, this tall midfielder. Then the ball curled into the back post. Rodrigo Gomez chests that down, might have used an arm. In any case, Ait Nouri was able to get the better of his former teammate and brought the ball away, and Manchester City should clear it, Chris.
Well, first off, in that phase of play by Wolves, brilliant defending by Totti, and then good refereeing by Jared Gillett, because I actually think it's a yellow. He may let it go now, but he let play go on so Wolves could attack the goal, but it didn't amount to anything in the end. But good plays, keep the game flowing.
Wolves 0, Manchester City 3. City in possession. Mateus Nunes seeing a bit of the ball. Now the Manchester City fans and their thousands reacting as it's brought forward for City into the box. Over on the far side by Reinders, but for once that comes to nothing. However, the ball is kept in over here on the left-hand side. We're going to see Hwang coming on very shortly for Wolves, but City win it back, and a shot into the bottom corner. Excellent finish from 22 yards, and that is a goal on his Premier League debut for Manchester City for Ryan Shirky on the day before his 22nd birthday. He picked his spot, he hit it right-footed, and Sarr, diving down to his left, couldn't get there. And with 10 minutes to go, Wolves 0, Manchester City 4 is now the score.
Well, sadly the fans are streaming out, and Wolves really haven't been in the game too much today, and Cherki just coming on wasn't the cleanest of strikes. It actually went in quite slowly to Jose Sarr's right, but yeah, City have been dominant. They've been playing in sort of second gear, really. It just fell to him. He fashioned it to his right-hand side, just on the edge of the area. A decent strike, but yeah, 4-0. Disappointing for Wolves fans all round.
Yeah, Wolves supporters beginning to head for the exit. We're seeing old gold seats becoming empty all around the Wolves sections as Hwang takes the place of Jørgen Strand Larsen. Hwang, who I do remember scoring a winner here against Manchester City a couple of seasons ago in the early days for Gary O'Neill when he was the manager. It was quite a famous win at the time.
Yeah.
But actually it's the only win that Wolves have had in their last 10 Premier League matches against Manchester City. Indeed, they've lost 9 of the last 10, and that's about to become 10 of the last 11. John Stones also being replaced good and important for club and country to see John Stones back, Chris.
Yeah, he's a fantastic personality, really funny guy, really good player, elegant player, calm on the ball, defends the box well. It's good to see him back, and maybe they're just protecting him and giving Kusanov some, vital minutes.
Yes, the Uzbek Abdukadir Kusanov is on for what is only his 11th appearance. The signing during the winter window when Manchester City bought him in from Lens. So Wolves 0, Manchester City 4. Yep, John Stones easing himself into action. So actually this has been his first competitive appearance since February the 11th, since the second leg against Real Madrid last season, and had I think it was 4. Yes, it was 4 spells out that he had all told last season. But a brilliant record at being available for England at all of the recent major tournaments. City coming forward again. Ait Nouri looking for a 5th goal now, Manchester City, and the ball was just deflected out of play for a throw-in to the visitors. In the Rugby League, by the way, the Super League, that's on Sports Extra 3. It's Hull FC 18, Lee 12. That is the latest score there. If you've been out today, many parts of the country, it's been beautiful weather again. 6:06 coming up with Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton. You might be a Sunderland fan after the 3-0 win against West Ham. What a return that was to the Premier League. Tottenham 3-0 winners against Burnley, bouncing back after the events in Udine on Wednesday night, as Manchester City win themselves a free kick for a foul on Mateus Nunes. Whatever it is, wherever you were, Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton would love to hear from you on 08 085 9693, and we'll be with 606 once we get things wrapped up here. We've got 6 minutes plus added time to play, and Manchester City, this is just the start of the season that Pep Guardiola will have wanted. Potentially tricky match for them, maybe a little undercooked at the start of the season, and Wolves, who were so impressive after Vitor Pereira took over in the December of last season, but City have been their ruthless selves.
They look like the City of old at times today.
Throw in on the far side that the referee wants retaken again. Nico O'Reilly apparently was booked for something that happened during the celebrations of the Shirky goal just now. So again, something happened in the aftermath of the scoring of a goal. Throw in for Manchester City. Mateus Nunes takes that into the centre circle. Ait Nouri allows it to bounce away from him, then back to Diaz in central defence, and Diaz forward for Ait Nouri. He loves to get forward. Many times we saw him that in an old gold shirt. Marmouche now, Marmouche. Then it's back to O'Reilly, Nico O'Reilly, also 20 years old, the number 33, O'Reilly, and then Ait Nouri shielding it from Fer Lopez, who eases Ait Nouri off the pitch, but Manchester City are quickly back in possession again. 4-0 they lead now, Pep Guardiola's side. Guardiola, 3rd last season, the lowest finishing position for City in the Premier League since Pep Guardiola's very first season back in 2016-2017. O'Reilly infield to Shirky again, and City just now knocking it round. It's like a training exercise inside the Wolves half. Scooped forward to O'Reilly. Wolves get a foot in, Joao Gomez, but Manchester City quickly win it back. Nico Gonzalez, and then Bob might fall to Reinders again. Reinders right foot shoots across goal, and that bounced probably 3-4 yards wide of the left post.
John, they kept the ball under pressure by Wolves for at least 15-20 passes then. They were just trying to provoke Wolves into making a rash tackle or rash decision to break through. They lost it, won it straight back, ended up with Reinders, who just pulled it wide, but they're playing just superb football.
Having seen them today, and of course there is power to add with Foden and Rodri not involved. Kovacic as well, we should mention. Wolves break forward, Hwang into the area, City trying to get back. and Hwang is forced to take it out of the box by Diaz. Lopez will try a shot, but that hits the back of Gonzalez, bounces out to Hugo Bueno over there on the far side. Touch off Mateus Nunes. Yes, that is out for a Wolves throw, which is taken by Hugo Bueno. Back towards the halfway line it goes. 3 minutes of the 90 still to play, and Manchester City leading 4-0. I was going to say, Chris, whether you what your feelings are about what might be possible for Manchester City on the basis of seeing them today.
Well, I think we're going to see a new look City in a lot of games this year. I think in games like today, they will feel they can maybe dominate the ball and dominate possession, but I think we'll see a slight shift from what they've been doing over the years because of losing De Bruyne. That's a bad pass. And trying to get these new players, Reinders, Mamouche having a full season, Cherki. I think there'll be slight change to how they'll approach games, especially when they're playing, Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea. And Pep has to sort of reinvigorate himself as well. After not winning anything last year, he's changed his coaching staff. It's double Pep now, isn't it, with Pep Linders?
That's right, Pep Linders.
So I think we'll see a slight change in sort of their outlook and the way they will approach games.
Yeah, I think that certainly would be a valid question. Our producer Nathan Alban will be going downstairs, so we'll try and get Pep Guardiola on, and indeed Vitor Pereira live into 6:06. But I think very much that feeling about whether the approach might be different this season. And of course, yet again, there is this unknown about when exactly there will be a verdict on the 100 plus charges that Manchester City are facing, and what the fallout will be of that. But we don't know that.
No, it's taken a long time, John.
Certainly has. Wolves 0, Manchester City 4, as we head into the 90th minute. But all in all, this will be a very satisfying start for Guardiola, all things considered. As Ait Nouri, who has done well, he's sort of eased himself in today, hasn't he? As Cherki, that's a nice combination in centre field. Reinders and Cherki, and the number 10 is taking it all the way to the edge of the area. And then passes it. If it had been left there by Ait Nouri, it would probably have fallen into the path of Reinders, who would have had a clear run in on goal, but his teammate got a touch.
Another really quick break by City. Really good pass by Cherki, just to the left of the Wolves' goal. But it just inadvertently hit Mamouche.
Mamouche is trying to find the position on the edge of the box. Ooh. It was right on the edge of the area, and referee Gillett says the challenge by João Gomes was just outside. It's in the D. I think he might be right there. It was very close. He's given it as a free kick, but VAR will have a look. Mamouche was trying to force his way through. Ooh. I think one foot was outside the penalty area, and I think it was that foot that had contact made on it.
I think he's made the right decision. I'm sure VAR have checked it.
Yeah, they have. I think they've had a quick look at that and said, yeah, free kick. Yeah. So who's going to take it? 7 minutes of added time to be added on. We have had a number of stoppages, and we had all of the substitutions as well, of course. Yeah. Right, who's going to take this? Mamouche has got the ball in his hands, hasn't he? Or he's the one who's placed it.
He's the favourite. Right footer. This will be a right footer. They're having a discussion, but I don't know why, because Mamouche will take it.
There are 4 of them involved. Diaz is getting himself involved in the conversation. I think Cherki quite fancies it as well. He's to the right of the ball.
He does, but Mamouche will be saying, look, you've got your goal, I need mine.
So Mamouche backs away to the left. This was over on, as we look at it, to the left side of the D, in the D. False start by Cherki. Mamouche strikes it into the wall, bounces back out for an effort from Reinders, who was on the edge of the area, but rather snatched at it and sent it spearing away over the angle of post and bar. So we are already into the second minute of added time. 08085 909 693 to book your call on 606 on this first Saturday night of the Premier League season. 4-0 to Manchester City. What about Rangers? Kenny Crawford?
Very interesting, John. 80 minutes gone. Rangers 3, Alloa 2. Cameron O'Donnell's free kick. David Devine's header off the bar, and it dropped nicely for right back Scott Taggart to tap in from 6 yards out. So it's going to get very uncomfortable here for the natives at Ibrox. Rangers 3, Alloa 2 with 10 minutes left.
Interesting. A couple of late goals as well in the National League. Truro City 0, York City 2. And the Wolves supporters who have stayed, and this was very much a feature of today as an occasion, the remembering and the tribute to Diogo Jota and Andre Silva, his brother. And if you weren't listening earlier, really, honestly, try and have a look at the pictures and the tifo that Wolves did for him today. And those Wolves fans who are still inside the ground, you can hear them singing the name of Diogo. Hugo Bueno, as Wolves come forward, trying to register their first Premier League goal of the season. Back it goes. Doherty curls it in, headed away. Again, Hugo Bueno, Fer Lopez, now to Rodrigo Gomez, across the box, bounces out. Hugo Bueno takes it down. Fer Lopez hits the shot, but easy for Trafford to drop to his right and clutch onto it.
John, before I had that, it's a definite foul on Nico Gonzalez. I don't know why Gareth Gillett didn't give a free kick. Definite foul.
Well, he's actually such was the force of it. He's ended up on the ground and has stayed there. And it was Munetsi who just tugged him over. So he's going to receive some treatment. I think he maybe fell awkwardly on his arm.
Yeah.
And that's the issue here. So we'll have a little more added time. Full time, Truro 0, York City 2 in the National League. Let me mention as well, tomorrow, a bumper day. So this is the way it's going to be in the Premier League. From now on, this is the start of a 4-year radio rights contract. So as well as everything that you've heard today, a choice of commentaries at 3 o'clock on 5 Live, that's new. Tomorrow, all of the 2 o'clock Premier League commentary. So Chelsea Crystal Palace will be on 5 Live. Nottingham Forest Brentford will be on Sports Extra. So that's 2 o'clock. And then Manchester United Arsenal from 4:30 with 6:06 with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton to follow tomorrow night. And Leeds Everton will feature on Monday, when we will have the Monday Night Club. And Conor Cody, Wrexham's Conor Cody, will be on this coming Monday night. Still play has not resumed because Nico Gonzalez is still receiving treatment, Chris. So while he is, what about New Look Arsenal tomorrow at Manchester United? What do you think?
Yeah, well, they finished second the last 3 seasons, and they've always been saying they've missed the number 9. Well, they've got one now.
Do you think he's good enough?
I do. Okay, he scored goals in the Portuguese league, but he scored quite a number of goals in the Champions League. He's played in England before, okay, in the Championship, but he's the player everyone has been saying that's what Arsenal need. They've got one now. They've added brilliantly with someone like Zubamendi.
You rate him?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. And I think it will free up Odegaard and Rice as well. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting how Arsenal do. But they've got 2 players in every position now. Good squad.
So
deep squad.
Manchester United Arsenal tomorrow, 4:30. 5 Live, the place to listen to it. 5 minutes of added time have been played. Now Nico Gonzalez has come off the field. He's going to come back on, but I suspect that means we're going to run into perhaps 8 or 9 minutes of added time now. Wolves 0, Manchester City 4. Wolves, as I say, got Bournemouth away next Saturday. Their next match here is Everton, so we'll have to see how they start on Monday night, and then Newcastle away, and as well as that, League Cup tie here against West Ham in a couple of weeks' time. But Manchester City, very good start to the new season this for them. And again, you can hear the Wolves fans. It's been led by the fans behind the goal to our right, but actually, I'm looking back behind us here and up to the right, many people in this stand as well, clapping their hands and singing Diogo. The ball out for a throw-in to Manchester City in their own left-back position. Ait Nouri, he has grown into it, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. I mean, a tricky first game. You're playing against a club you've been at for a number of years. But he looks every inch a Man City player for me. The way he controls the ball, his balance, his willingness to get forward. He can defend, which is important as a left back, but he's an astute buy for City.
Wolves have got the ball, almost as if Manchester City are taking a breather here. They know the points have been won. Hugo Bueno on the left, they want that clean sheet. Trafford will want a clean sheet on his Premier League debut for Manchester City, as Hugo Bueno does well. He's been bright actually since he's come on. He's won a corner, this is only their fourth corner. I'm not sure they've actually beaten the first man. So John Arias, John spelt as in John Duran, J-H-O-N. Arias plays it to the near post, doesn't beat the first man.
John, doesn't it absolutely infuriate commentators, fans, players, managers, when the corner kick doesn't clear the first man? You get everyone up, it's a chance to score a goal, you don't clear the first man.
Vitor Pereira does not look impressed. I suspect he might be moaning about that in the pub tonight. So throw in for City on the edge of their own box. We are now in the 8th minute of added time. 6:06, waiting for your calls. 08085 909 693. As City break away, perhaps a late 5th goal. Still City, and a backheel flick down the line, but O'Reilly can't reach that, and Totti Gomez is able to clear it away. João Gomez. So we do have
game over, John.
And that is it. The final whistle goes, and actually a number of the Wolves supporters in the stands still singing the Diogo song. Disappointment for the Wolves players, and I have to say as well, I know we've talked about it with Liverpool, but you could see, it was very emotional for many of the Wolves players out there on the field, whether teammates at club or international level, and the effect that it had on them, because it really was a tribute before the match that tugged at the heartstrings. So you'll see that on Match of the Day and on the BBC social media later. But on the pitch, Chris Powell, very definitely and comprehensively Manchester City's day. 2 goals for Haaland, 1 for Reinders, 1 for substitute Shirky, those two scoring on their Premier League debuts for Manchester City. But Reinders the star man.
Oh, most definitely for me. I think you're going to see a new look Man City midfield. You've still got Phil Foden to come back, you've got Rodri to come back, but they've laid a small marker down. Liverpool scored 4 last night. They've obviously looked and said, well, we can do the same away from home, and they've got something to aim for this year. They really have, City, after what for them was a disappointing season, only the Community Shield, losing in the FA Cup final. So they've got a lot to play for this year, and a marker for sure. Yeah,
and a quick word on Wolves. Outclassed today, but outclassed by a very good team.
Absolutely. I think they look like a team that's missing Cunha, missing Semedo, missing Aït-Nouri. I think they need to add these next 2 weeks. I think they need to get a bit of impetus back to the football club. Obviously a real sad day, poignant day with regards to Diogo Jota and his brother, and you can still hear the fans now, but they'll pick up, they'll survive. I think they'll survive. They're a team that always, when they need to do it, they do it. They did it for Vitor Pereira last year, did it for Gary O'Neill the season before, so no, they'll be fine.
Yeah, Wolves, their 8th consecutive season in the Premier League, and after the handshakes, the Wolves players are now going to the stand to our right to thank the fans for their tribute now that you can hear to Diogo Jota. So that is it. Chris Powell, thank you very much for your company here at Molineux this afternoon, this evening. 6:06 on the way, 08085 909 693 with Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton. So do not miss that. Also, tomorrow on 5 Live, Sunday breakfast, Gordon Smart and Katie Smith will have reviews, previews of all of the big sport, as well as the news stories from 7 o'clock in the morning. Colin Murray is on a Sunday morning. Now the Premier League football season is underway, so the Great Football Songbook at 10:30 should be a feature of your week. And as I've been saying, Steve Crossman with 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, the first of the new Premier League season. Chelsea against Crystal Palace on 5 Live, Nottingham Forest Brentford on Sports Extra, and then Manchester United Arsenal at 4:30. Back to Rangers in the League Cup. Kenny Crawford.
It should be sealed now for the home side. Rangers 4, Alloa 2, 90 minutes played, and it's the youngster Finlay Curtis who's driven the ball low into the bottom left-hand corner. Nicely set up by Kieran Dowell. Rangers 4, Alloa 2 with 3 minutes of added time to be played.
Nice one, thank you, Kenny. We will hear if that is how it's finished during the early course of 606, when we will hope as well to bring you the live interviews with Vitor Pereira, Pep Guardiola and whoever else. There is live commentary from the boxing in Saudi Arabia on Sport Extra right now, and then later from 10 o'clock you will hear the Atama Dillian White fight. And that is later in the evening, but next on 5 Live it will be 606 after the news with Joe Critcher.